What's going on, guys? Keegan here from Punisher's Paintball. Today I am bringing you a video on how to replace the ball detent in your Tippmann 98 Custom. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you right after the intro. Alright guys, getting right into this video. This is your basic Tippmann 98 Custom or Tippmann 98. It's the same for any of the 98 models on how to do this, so you can follow this guide for any of them. A few things starting off to just make this a little bit easier. Remove the barrel. That'll make it a ton easier, as well as just make it easier to move around the gun. So set that to the side, as well as to remove the hopper and feed neck system. There's a little tab right here on the front. You can push that down. It's technically the front sight, but you can press that down and that releases the latch onto your feed neck assembly, and then you can just slide that backwards and it pops right off. So you can go ahead and take that off. It just makes things a lot easier. Moving on from there, actually getting into breaking down this gun and getting onto the inside so that we will be able to replace that detent. You're actually only going to need two things. You're going to need a 1-inch Allen key and then your replacement detent. So you're going to take your 1/8 Allen key, and there's 6 body screws that you need to take out. One here, one here, 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 and finally here in the grip. So we're going to go ahead and remove all 6 of those. Once you get this first front grip one out, you can actually go ahead and slide that front grip out the bottom, removing the top front sight one. As always, lefty loosey, righty tighty. This center body one, they can be a little tight sometimes, but if you just give them a little bit, they will. Like this one here is a little tight. Don't use this end, don't use the long end, you don't have as much leverage. But eventually it'll break the bolt just like that. And by break, I don't mean actually break the bolt or snap it or anything like that. I just mean break the threads open so that you can unscrew it. All of these ones seem to be a little tight, which isn't a bad thing. Honestly, someone might have used a drill to put these in, which you actually can use if you want to speed up the process just a bit. I unfortunately don't have the right drill bit. That one was real tight, but I'll go ahead and remove that last one. So the next thing you want to do from there, once you have your 6 body screws out, there's 2 screws on the ASA here. You don't need to remove them all the way. You can just go ahead and loosen them up a bit. That way it allows the frame to be separated. These 2 screws push this ASA piece into the 2 halves of the frame and will kind of seal it sometimes in a way, just to make it so it's a bit harder to take apart. So as you can see there, I just created a little bit of a gap to loosen it up. And then this is kind of the tricky part, one of the 2 tricky parts in this. You're going to want to be very careful taking this apart. There are springs and stuff that can pop out, and so you just want to grab kind of 2 parts of it and kind of wiggle it away, trying not to allow those springs to come apart. So there, your Tippmann 98 in half. A lot of the time, nothing will come off on the top half. Sometimes you'll have a couple of the pins or maybe the detent, but that shouldn't matter all that much. This piece here is the one that I wanted to make sure that didn't come off, because if it comes out, it is under spring tension and that goes flying across the room. If that does happen, the way to put it back together, you have this little rod here which slides into your spring. You have your O-ring which will slide onto that piece, and then the actual rod goes inside of this cap. You slide the spring directly into there. You just push them together, and then there's two little insert tabs for that back piece to go into. So pretty simple if you do have that happen, so don't worry. The other piece that can spring off is the front sight. It is also under spring tension. To push up, that can kind of push out. This right here is your spring, and then you have these two pieces right here. You have a pin that holds in the front sight. You want to just go ahead and place these back together. So the piece that is kind of coming out of it will go on top. So you want to put it in just like that there, and then slide that there. Just like that is back in place. So from here it's super simple. You just remove your old detent right there. So that one there you can see is obviously bad. It's just worn out. Sometimes they'll snap, but this one is just flattened out and doesn't actually pop back to normal anymore. Not a big deal. It's a cheap part. It's one of the few things that goes wrong with these markers, thankfully. Grab your new one and make sure that the piece that is going up is facing this way out of the gun. So you'll place it so that the bolt will go forward and hit it going this way rather than hit it going this way and catch it. So we're just going to go ahead and slide that new detent in just like that right there. New detent is now in, and then you're good to put your top half back on. Just make sure that everything is in place. You can kind of have a good look at it here as to what it should look like, and then go ahead, grab your top piece. The only thing you want to make sure is that this right here can sometimes spring out, and you don't want it loose. You actually want it behind the plastic piece. So go ahead, put a little bit of tension on that there so that it is locked in place, and then go ahead and slowly put your frame back on. I like to start with the front due to that front sight sometimes popping off, but we're going to go ahead, make sure everything's lined up, and slide it back together just like that. From there, go ahead, slide all your screws back in. I'm going to start with the front grip again, so slide your front grip in. I'm just going to hand tighten that one for now so I can get the rest of these inserted in just like this. And then go ahead and tighten all your screws down. They don't need to be overly tight. Hand tight is kind of just perfectly fine. I'll flip it over and give it a little bit of a kick into it so that it's not just sitting there loose, but it doesn't need to be like torqued down or anything like that, thankfully. It just kind of seals the two body halves together, make sure that everything stays in place. I'm actually just going to go ahead and do this here. Get all those in. Then do one more there. From there, you're going to go back to your two ASA screws there, and you're just going to go ahead and tighten them down. They don't need to be overly tight, again, like the body screws. It doesn't hold any air or anything like that between the two. It just goes straight through into your line there. So you can just kind of tighten them however much you want to, just to make it so that it's not rattling around. Go ahead, grab your feed neck again. It's very simple. Make sure that the two pins line up, push it in, fold this piece up just like that. It locks in. They're always going to be a little loose. They're not going to be super tight, but that is now locked in. Grab your Tippmann 98 threaded barrel just like that, and you are done. That is how you replace your detent in a Tippmann 98 custom. Alright guys, if this video was helpful, make sure to comment down below and let us know, and leave a like as well as subscribe to the YouTube channel, and as always, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and we'll see you guys in the next one.